right, welcome everyone. Welcome YouTube. Megan, I'll wait for the thumbs up that we are streaming live. The recording is going to start. Here we go. We are back at the Water, Wetlands, and Watersheds seminar. We can hear Billy, Lisa, hopefully y'all can hear. And when we get, yes, wow, YouTube is good. All right, welcome everyone. So it's our next Water, Wetlands, and Watershed seminar for spring 2026. So this week we're very lucky to have Dr. Chengji Chen coming from the Florida Institute for Built Environment Resilience. And Dr. Chen is a computational urbanist. So maybe we haven't had an urbanist in a long time. So thank you for coming. He studies the spatial structure and functional dynamics of cities with a focus on building scalable and intelligent urban digital twins for modeling. And so this idea of digital twins has been quite popular lately. And I even had a couple of people posting on the Facebook post for this seminar asking, what's a digital twin? Is it just a model? What's the difference between a model and a twin and a shadow? So I don't talk a little bit about that. But he's been working to leverage cloud-based data infrastructures, 3D geospatial data, and AI pipelines. So that sounds like maybe you know what that is, maybe you don't, but we'll learn a lot more after your talk today. And he's been working specifically on this thing called the Florida Digital Twin, which is a very interdisciplinary, multi-problem, multi-sector application of this simulation technology. So with that, Dr. Chen,
all right,
the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me to give this talk, which I feel I'm maybe the least qualified person to give a talk at this Water, Wetlands, and the Watersheds, the W3 seminar. But I feel maybe the OEM Center as a research team might value the interdisciplinarity that we share here. So
sorry, when I made you the not host, and then it stopped your share. So now we need to do that, and you should be good. Back.
Okay. So I gave this kind of presentation before, but I restructured it a little bit. So I think what I want to start is some applications that I've been involved before in terms of this one. So in terms of use case demos. So perhaps all of us here in this room knows where CRT is, so I don't need to explain that. But we, the Fiber the Institute, we were involved in this grant called Resilient Florida Program from DEP. The goal there is to create a statewide critical asset data set, like GIS asset. So of these different categories of GIS data layers that can be served as a statewide database for future analysis. So what we did, besides compound flood risk analysis and exposure sensitivity analysis, what we also did is a application. So this application, we call it Resilient CRT. It's readily available. If you go to resilientcrt.web.app, it's still there. It's created for the community. So let me show you how it works. So at the beginning, we start with some introductory tour as some dashboards that you have. And we can toggle between different projection years, 2040 and 70, that's the state requirement. And we can choose between different storm scenarios, such as category 1, 3, or 5. And on the left, we couple this map with some high-level statistics so that decision makers can get a kind of intuitive sense of the level of impact. So if you go to 2040 in a category 1 scenario, we can expand this tool and toggle the symbology to see what the actual color means. So this is after we did the analysis, and then we kind of make it a web accessible application. At this level, it's kind of immersive environment, and change it to, you can of course change the base map. And with the analysis, you can look at individual property and what's their flood risk. This is something that no existing tools are available for CRT. And some other critical assets, such as the one and only wastewater treatment facility on the island, will face a category 3, when it is a category 3 hurricane, which close to Helene, and this will be completely inundated by almost 13 feet of water. So what we what I think the lessons here that we learned is that this digital twin, like essentially a digital platform, allow that us to transform complex flood modeling into easy to understand visualizations, which helps develop shared understanding and a sense of competency and control. Versus that we go to, maybe they have already, the residents have already seen many presentations in terms of maps and reports. But the thing that we noticed when we launched this at a public workshop, so we fill the room with monitors and people just coming in and just without we present anything or say to them, everyone is kind of immediately go to their own house and look at the different scenarios. I mean, that's natural, but that kind of self-exploratory approach gave them, instead of presenting a daunting future that they cannot do anything about, now this allows the conversation to happen. It helps gain local buy-in for more, which next step is more important, is the what can we do? What is adaptation strategy? So that's kind of one example. The second example is I want to showcase the JAX twin. You may have heard JAX twin. That's the digital twin that we start developing in early 2024. And now it has gained some attention from the municipality and local agencies and stakeholders. It's still as a university research program, so we are still actively developing this. But my hope is that it can really gain some adoption in the local community, that they see the value in it, so we can actually bring some value to the municipality in terms of their decision support. So we worked on some of the more foundational technology. This is part of the Florida Digital Twin Initiative, such as how do we integrate diverse streams of data to analyze flood impacts and septic inundation, water quality, health outcomes, and property values. And then the platform development is how we utilize the computational power here we have at UF, specifically the hypergator, to allow adequate computational resource to be allocated to the digital twin for when we scale it up. And third is absolutely for decision support. So I have a quick video of how this actually works. So just a reminder, this is still in development. So first of all, you log in. So we will develop this as an authentication-based platform. So far we have modeled about 32,000 buildings using a semi-automated GIS process to convert LiDAR point cloud into discrete 3D buildings in Jacksonville. And we bring in some tools to simulate weather conditions, such as cloudy and rainy weather conditions. There's snow. So that's you can see it's kind of a data-rich and experience-rich environment. We can look at from the other side of the St. Johns River bank, some of the buildings, and all of these are discrete buildings. So that means we can assign attributes to them. So this part here is a shade analysis that we're collaborating with the resilience office as they move past the flood risk to heat risk. So we're looking for how downtown walkability is impacted by thermal comfort and heat. So we use computer vision in this platform to see, for example, if you want to walk from City Hall to the library at any given time of a day, in any time of year, what is the path that you want to walk with? And this other part here is that let's say there's might be an interest in developing this waterfront property. Then of course we build in some simple tool to measure how big the area is, and so this is kind of also a collaboratory platform where volunteer geographic information can come in, and we can bring in their own design model. So see how the proposed development might fit into the existing urban environment. So zooming out, this is more like a decision-making planning level where you can see when we go to that tab, all of these are showing the natural neighborhood in Jacksonville. We couple that with census statistics, social demographic statistics, such as age groups. The thing that's talking about platform development is that what you're seeing is computation on the fly. So as we click on any neighborhood in Jacksonville, they send a request to the cloud warehouse to use that neighborhood boundary to query the database to give you, because we know that the neighborhood is definitely not aligned with census block or census tracts. So this is computation allow us to gain insights quickly. So if you go to this mode here, let's say there's an interest for that intersection, and then you select it, the charts will respond to, because these buildings are all having attributes with them, so the charts get updated. Also, there's a reverse communication. If you click on the chart, for example, we'll see where are the industrial, where are the commercials, the map will also respond to you. So the next feature here that we are still in experiment is like talking to the digital twin. So we say we set building colors, it kind of understand and change the symbology, and then zoom to the tallest building. Again, because these are attributes, objects in this WebGIS environment, so we can do some agentic features with a twin. So the last feature I want to show on this demo is related to water. Is that what if there's a 4 feet of sea level rise, and you can see the water changes, and then this is just NOAA model. We didn't develop any new model, but we couple that with the analyze. So now you can see how many structures are being impacted by this 4 foot of sea level rise. But if we change it to 8 feet, and not just sea level rise, maybe a storm will bring 8 foot of water, then we can do the analysis again. Now the number changes to almost 5,000 buildings. So the intuitiveness embedded in the twin from a decision-making perspective is something that we want to highlight during our development. And our goal is to, again, get a local adoption and get them to buy into what we're researching and developing, and that can, further the life of this digital twin effort. So my next talk is my next slide is to allow us to go back to the definition of digital twin, and because right, we talk about digital twin or urban digital twin, then I think we're still at this very infant stage in terms of application and development and adoption. So I don't know if you have this in your head, in this mental image in your head, but at first, when I was starting to do this, I have. So it is kind of you have a physical environment and use a digital environment to this dynamic communication between the physical and digital. That is, very big definition of digital twin. So I think that's kind of the dominant definition. So it's designed it's a virtual counterpart designed to mirror the state of a system or object, simulate its behavior, and inform operation decisions through real-time data exchange. And we have to think that this is a kind of a concept roots from a conceptual model very much from a mechanical engineering and several physical system perspective domains, where in those situations, the assets have clear boundaries, controllable behaviors, and measurable performance metrics, right? So that we have to ask, like, what changes when a system is a city? I think we can all agree that city doesn't have a singular objective or singular goal, and the control and feedback are distributed across a jurisdiction. And the dynamics are not linear. It's not that you do A, B will happen. And there are like interacting scales between the decision and the regulation and human behavior. And the representation of the choice of representing this system is not merely technical. It is also normative and social when we're dealing with the human society. So then if we ask this question, then we might also ask, what are cities? I think at least cities are evolutionary success. It's humanity's most enduring inventions, persisted through climate shifts, wars, and migrations, and concentrate trade, knowledge, culture, and social organizations. So, and if we fast forward to today and thinking of a mega city like Seoul in South Korea, then we might also have this image of a busy place. Sometimes it can be chaotic, but I would argue that this appearing to be chaotic is fundamentally about the interdependence of urban systems rather than the dysfunction. So I would say that city are evolutionary success, and it's our primary primary way of inhabit this planet. I mean, wetlands are important, not against but definitely. So I would come to that, but I would argue that it's how the primary way we are engaging our lives in this planet. So we must think like if we want to better live, and we must better understand the cities, and that's why I think I call it a computational framework for cities is urban digital twin. So cities are a system of systems, and if we are thinking about systems in categories, and there are fundamentally 5 different systems. There are natural systems, there are design physical systems, design abstract systems, social systems, and human activity systems, and cities at the intersection of them. When I say design physical system, these are like man-made structures, buildings, roads, bridges, and design abstract system from a planning perspective. They are like land use laws, zoning, regulation, or like the different social norms we have inside our society. So we can agree that it is complex by nature. It's a constellation of systems. But if we look at this diagram, I think one thing that I want to frame the approach to creating urban digital twin or digital twin in general is to to use these two keys. So the first one is again the last slide is about this interdependence of different systems. So that can be computationally modeled. And second is that all of these systems are geospatially encoded and share a spatial substrate, meaning that no matter where you're looking at a building or you're looking at the neighborhood or the city, there is this spatial substrate that connects all of these. So that's why we call the digital twin, Florida digital twin initiative is a geospatial digital twin that is comparing to the semiconductor digital twin or the human body digital twin, where it doesn't share that coordinate systems. So I put here like this is I learned from another collaborator. I would say that most of the time I don't think digital twin as a final product, although that's the thing that people are trying to think and just think that the final interface that you're seeing is the digital twin. But I think we should look at it from a perspective of digital twin is a way of our approach to structure our knowledge about cities. So as a computational framework for cities, it must perform three fundamental tasks. First is representation. So I think the kind of put in verbs is these three tasks is describe. So we have to describe what the city looks like or what it is, relate, and operationalize. So, and I put this in kind of this frame. I know these are three pillars that for the geospatial digital twin that we're currently developing has these three technical, I would say more technical pillars for it. So the first pillar is representation. That's about how we computationally represent the city. It has to be, beyond visualization. It must enable structural fidelity and semantic legibility. Not only how city looks, but how it can be computed, right? Secondly, it has to support inquiry, so you can ask question to the digital twin, and maybe ask better question before we don't have this urban digital twin. So that requires us to have these 3D models as discrete objects with identifiable boundaries, and it has to remain legible across all scales. So what I showed here is Google photorealistic 3D tiles, which is created, and you can see this on Google Earth, Google Maps, created by photogrammetry methods. But if you zoom in, and it's kind of immediately lost its fidelity, and it doesn't offer you the capability that we talk about here. And also, the digital model should also offer, visibility calculation, shadow, air, and fluid dynamics. So the 3D city modeling as a field or domain is kind of the natural first step of the twinning. So it encodes buildings, terrain, vegetation, infrastructure, water as a structured and queryable 3D assets in the digital twin. So we started with this is Jacksonville USGS 2018 collected in 2018, and we use this automated GIS workflow to convert LiDAR point clouds into discrete 3D objects. Then all of these models have, we assign them the attributes such as what is land use, what is year built, what is market value of them.
So Dr. Chen, that's all publicly available data that you use to visualize, or you didn't fly any extra, you didn't take any new photos.
Yeah. So these are all USGS data from the 3DP, 3DAP program.
Mhm.
It's a nationwide, I think covers everything contiguous US. Well, there's various level of details, but Florida has maybe one of the top, or maybe the second top high fidelity in the nation. So that's kind of a very useful data program as well provided by USGS. And that's important, David, what you mentioned is that I didn't fly. And this is also related to, one of our goal is to, without producing any new data or relying on any new equipment. This is meant to be developed for, maybe small communities. And this is what we did with our generative AI pipeline using some most advanced 3D open model, one from Meta, one from Microsoft. This is running on HybridData. Let me show you. So this is we connect to HybridData, and this is a Cedar Key again. It's just meant to be, we use Google Street Map API, but this is just for demonstration. Let's say that you want to 3Dify this building and you just grab a screenshot. This is the platform we build. We use Travis at that moment, now we switch. But the idea is that you can now, with some computational power on HybridData, we use NVIDIA B200 GPU. That allows us to create 3D building using Google Street View. That's the most prevailing urban data that you might have.
Yeah.
So it's not like you need a drone and you need some permission to go out and then fly and then collect data and get back to the lab and process it. So what that allows us to do is that now we can think about populating the 3D city. So we have this script in City Engine, and then now we can see these individual buildings are georeferenced to the correct scale of the base map. So the City Engine allows the coordinate system to be embedded. So now we can see these are in Jacksonville. And we can compare that with Google Street View, which is pretty good, right? So that's kind of the legibility and structure. Because they are discrete, now we can assign, we can compute this in the digital twin. So the second pillar I talk about is integration, and I want to mention this is the data model that we use, which is a city GML. Because we're building an urban digital twin, this is the best model that it's a kind of a schema, and it incorporates things that you can think of exist in a city, but also offers some extensions, like the appearance are just textures. Generics are like if you, for example, here it doesn't have a utility submodule, you can create your own generics. Dynamizer, which relates to how, for example, a building looks in 2018 versus in 2020. Versioning is for data management, point cloud model. So we are using this model, and so how it looks in nature is not so different from your GS layers, such as roads, water bodies. But in fact, that's kind of the first step that we started, is to bring in GIS data, different layers together so that we can reach the interoperability goal for this integration pillar. And so on the other hand of integration is how we can harmonize data sets originated from different reasons or different goals. And we all know that they come in different units from parcels, census blocks, watersheds, neighborhoods. They are mismatched. So how can we harmonize this? And how can we reconcile the different? So this is kind of an algorithm that we are still in the process of revision, we submit 2 times revision for scientific reports. This coming back again, we're doing a 3rd time revision, but it's kind of the framework that I have a short video, but I want to give you some background of this question that we are trying to solve with this algorithm. Is that the city of Jacksonville has a program called septic to sewer, because many of the city is still on septic. So how should the city prioritize limited resources that can achieve the maximum influence for efficiency purposes? So that's kind of the back-end question, and we started overlaying 6 different layers. They are from septic density, flat depth, built up, impervious land, property value, population density, and oops. Just pause here. So the first step we did is that we did an embedding process. This is using an autoencoder to increase the dimension of from the original 6 to the number 12. That allows us to model the interactions between different, because all of these variables, they may have interdependence in them. So we use an embedding process, and then we did a step 2, which is clustering using a self-organizing map-based method to clustering these 12 dimensions. And then 3rd is to refine it into a homogeneous and convex and compact result of regions. So the idea is that this is a method, a proposed method for integrating or data harmonization of distinct data layers. The 3rd is simulation, and so this is related to water quality analysis in the JAX-Twin project. So there is a sensor network in the water body in this watershed in Duval County, and by USGS, so there is a continuous network and also a discrete network. So the continuous network generates data every 15 minutes collected by these sensors. So when we talk about digital twin, I think one thing that people always highlight is this data exchange, right? So how can we get data, real-time data into the digital twin platform? So we're developing using Apache Airflow to get USGS water data into the digital twin. And how is this data stored? It's using a cloud data warehouse on Google BigQuery. So you can see some live data that is requested from the USGS API. And then we can publish this data directly from Google BigQuery into a GS server, which means that these data are becoming now a service that we can put it in a GS application or software or for analysis purposes. And the 3rd is an analytic runtime. So with this E. coli modeling problem in specific, we are developing a Python-based random forest model. This is work with the Department of Agriculture and Biological Engineering with Rafa. He has a postdoc with him that we are doing this analysis. But our idea is how can we make this Python script or the machine learning model we have trained to become a service that is readily available in the data train. So we use this open neural network exchange, which you can think of, it's just what we call a serialization method that you can turn the already trained model, whether from PyTorch or scikit-learn or Tensor, to be a a serialized like JSON file, and then you can deploy that into any kind of end terminal devices, and then that's requestable, and we can do that analysis on the fly. So this is kind of the E. coli modeling analysis, where the question is, people, so E. coli is an important indicator of water quality. However, that is something that you cannot sense, because you have to take the sample back to the lab and then under a microscope to count. And but we have proxy variables such as water temperature, oxygen, nitrogen, and these are collected by the sensor. So the random forest use those proxy variables to predict E. coli. So that becomes kind of an early warning system for the city. So that instead of randomly collect sample in water body, you can be more targeted on, based on our analysis, this area might be worth checking, and you can send people to collect sample from there. So that's kind of the usage of it. How
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
But
Okay.
leave some time for questions. So let's
Okay.
go 7 minutes.
Okay, so I think I'm finishing the this demo, but I wanna kind of talk about an outlook on urban digital twin, and is it just a new buzzword? And to illustrate that, I asked my AI assistant Google Gemini. This is the Nano Banana model. And they ask the question like, can you create me an image of smart city? And then can you create me an image for urban digital twin? So because smart city might be the last hype term that we use. So I think you can all guess which one is smart city, which one is urban digital twin. I think the answer is is clear, that this is smart, the left is smart city, the right is urban digital twin. So to answer the question in the title, I think this is not just a hype, but it's kind of a hope or a paradigm shift that we want to see happening in research, in actually technology development, is that instead of instrumentation, where smart city focus a lot on Internet of Things, sensors, getting more and more data. But then we realize that more data does not automatically translate into better understanding. So I think we have a lot of data that's sitting there that we don't even, try to perceive what that means. So I think that the digital twin is not like kind of a abandoning of a previous term, but it's kind of a shift of focus. Is that trying to understand, instead of optimizing a city, it's not like an engine that we can optimize. It's that we can, this new paradigm focus on exploration, focus on scenario planning, focus on like seeing what could be a better alternative through the digital twin. So I do think I have one last thing. This kind of my next research going forward is to further develop this agentic AI capability in the digital twin. I give you an example very quickly. This is with the Jacksonville Transportation Authority, JTA, that they are they give us the data, and they also give us the problem to solve, so which we are very grateful. So the problem that they are facing as a public transit entity is that they are evaluated based by the National Transit Agency on their on-time performance, how their buses are performing on time. Because if you're not on time, you lose your passengers. And but the other goal that they have is that am I serving the population that needs the service the most? Am I serving population without cars, with the senior population? people with disabilities. So that kind of question is something that they want to balance. So we create this kind of negotiation process using agentic AI. So how it works is that you can just like talk to it, and then say that I want to analyze a particular route 3, and then the map will show you this is how the route is running, and where are the stops, and give you some baseline statistics, because this all data that we give it. So some of the data include senior population, where are they? This is just a pilot, so we should include more data layers. And point of interest, where are what are the bus stops serving? And traffic, ADT, annual average daily traffic, is historical traffic data. And APC data, this automatic passenger count, counts like every time you get on a bus or get off, you generate a record. And this is the last is on-time performance. These are defined not like at each stop, but on certain locations across the route. So we ask that to start the negotiation process, and then you can specify. Oops. You can specify. You can specify the different model that you want each agent to use. So for example, the efficiency agent is focused on on-time performance. The equity agent has another goal and persona. Its role is to say, you're not serving these people that you need. So then we can customize how these are by different large language models, such as Llama and GPT, and we can specify how many actions that you wanted to propose, and then it will propose, such as the efficiency agents, and if you click on it, it will go to there and then give you the justification. So it's not like a replacement of any transit planner. This is meant to be an augmentation of the planner's capacity, which elevated from them from doing the data processing, because AI can do data processing correctly, but the justification maybe not. So it gives you the justification why it made certain decisions, but then the planner is still as a judge to decide whether that's the way to go. So and similarly for the efficiency agent, that it produce different actions, such as you should add a stop because there are some population here that you need to serve. And then the last step is a negotiation process where they will swap their actions. Like the efficiency agent will evaluate the proposals by the equity agent, vice versa. So this will allow the negotiation to be made. Of course, so the range is between 0 and 1. 1 means that reaching the perfectly on one goal, but like planning, sometimes this is a balancing and a negotiation between competing goals. Then this is giving to the planners to set the threshold. What is an acceptable range, and that is and then you can reiterate this process and then come up with a solution again. So with that, I think that's kind of my last slide. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Great. So really interesting, and we have time for a few questions. Start with any student or anyone in the room, and we have one from YouTube. So I'll do Victoria first, and then yeah, go ahead.
That was really cool. I thought I knew a little bit about JS, but I really don't after watching that. Are you looking at maybe in the future doing potential integration with like watershed modeling and flood modeling based from rain instead of sea level?
Yeah, that's the idea. We started in Jackstream. We started modeling Hurricane Ian with engineering. Matani and her team they are looking at that, and we are trying to bring in that in. And what I'm showing is just the base NOAA model. This is kind of a anecdote is that, when we are doing in a particular locality, for example, Jacksonville, they have their own analysis. They don't want our analysis, contradicting their analysis. So this always like suspicious. What are you guys doing? So that's why we put NOAA model there, because we didn't create it as NOAA. So, but yeah, that's a great point. I think also, I think like water, transportation, energy, these are all great use cases in the twin.
We have one from YouTube, which asks, fascinating topic, could digital twins be used to evaluate nature-based solutions like living shorelines in Cedar Key? And if so, how do you account for dynamic changes over time, like changing shoreline conditions?
Yeah, so this is a work that my colleague Carla Savannah, Ochoa, she when we were working this back in 2024, we started modeling. There is a River in Jacksonville that we started in Unreal Engine creating a kind of simulation tool where you can plant oyster castles and trees around that shoreline of River to see how many oxygen is generated in the water, things like that. So I think yes, indeed, it is. It's also a very popular usage.
Nick?
Yeah, no, I reiterate that, like, the tool is amazing, the technology is amazing, and I almost have a follow-up question to the, like, the storm model modeling and predictions. I know that like every city is trying to do this, but in prediction mode, everywhere from like video game developers to people that are building digital twins have had the struggle between making like a true hydrodynamic simulation of Navier-Stokes equation, which I know is super slow.
Yeah,
for a lot of these things, versus just a purely AI generated distributed flood model. And I was wondering if you've been balancing those two ideas, if this is all just like Navier-Stokes gridded flow, or is it AI generated flow?
Yeah, for this demo that we here, you see again, that's like a pre-calculated NOAA model in like different height of sea levels. And I think, the question between how fast we can be, that's and some of them, those mathematical numeric models are really slow, and that's indeed a very big challenge. Still, we are not quite big like solve that yet. But I think here what we are trying to do with, especially with hybrid data, is that how can we utilize that computational power to feed some application like a digital twin to make that more into a acceptable range of time that you would expect digital twin will give you. So we're developing enterprise GIS on Hypergate. As you may know, that GIS is Hypergate is a Linux system. It doesn't necessarily support ArcGIS. So, but we are trying to figure out ways how to type into that GPU, CPU computational power to do this. Still ongoing. It's still ongoing.
Also, I guess just one more quick comment. Am I making this up? Did someone do a global digital twin on like a 5 or 10 kilometer resolution scale? Was it the EU? That I don't know if you
there might be. I'm not aware of it.
It's like the whole world recently.
Yeah. It's like depending on how what is the scale that you're looking at the question. Like if you maybe just even a building, then there's more questions that you can ask when zooming out and looking at things at a larger scale. So I guess like across the scale, from natural to built environments, there is tremendous applications that can happen.
Great, let's give another round of applause, Dr. Chen. Thank you. Okay, everyone, so next week we have Dr. Asenia Gorin. She's a postdoc at the Center for Landscape Conservation and Planning here at UF, and she's going to be talking about landscape connectivity and water resources, talking about the Florida Ecological Greenways Network. So until then, Have a great week. Enjoy the weather, especially as it gets cool again next week. Maybe get some rain, and we'll